It is so hard for us to accept that what we don't agree with or what feels uncomfortable to us, we attract, right? On the basis that we accept that we are what we attract, and that which we attract is not the situation, but it is the impression that the situation leaves on us, which is a result of our response to that, whether it is a reaction or a response to it. That leaves an impression. And generally, what tends to leave impressions are what creates conditions within which we choose to exist. Anything that creates a condition within which we choose to exist becomes our karma, because karma is limiting us when it is a karma born of an act that was a contracting act of consciousness, as a result of which it needs to be worked out. Then, of course, there is the karma, or there is the impression that is left upon us when we consider all of the experiences that we have at a gross physical level as the only level and as very real, right? Discounting the possibility that we are not limited to these five senses. And this is the key thing that distinguishes a non-awakened person from one that is going through an awakening, highly sensitive, and one that has awakened, because you're woken up or are waking up to other portals, to other dimensions, to the possibilities. There's more to our existence than what we see in the mirror, what we see outside, what we see in each other. And when we do this, we can then understand and experience the entirety of this fabric of our existence, as opposed to us seeing that somebody is behaving in a certain way and that we only look at the behavior with our blinkers on and we don't see beyond that behavior or ours. An awakening allows us to see beyond our own behavior, beyond our own cause and effect, beyond why are we behaving in the way that we are. And one of the, let's say, laws of the universe is that everything that we perceive is perceived through a subjective lens of perception, which is based on our peculiar or unique blueprint of conditioned existence, which would be our karmic blueprint. Whatever we have accumulated by way of memory, thoughts, experience collectively will in turn then create experiences for us. So everything already exists, and what we then do is, based on what we think or what we have experienced about life and how life ought to be, we then, our vibe, like I've said in a previous post, our antenna will go and fetch that and make it our manifest reality so that it becomes solidified. And when it becomes solidified, that means that our senses are now attuned to it. It doesn't mean that it wasn't there all the time. It just means that it was there and existed as a possibility that we've now turned into a reality, or in some cases that did exist as a gross reality, but we have just tuned into it because we've made it now our own personal subjective reality, which is why some of us will experience abuse in our lives, some of us will not. Why not? Why aren't we all experiencing the same things? What makes your experience different from somebody else's? What makes your take on life different from somebody else's? Your conditioning, my conditioning, whatever we come with, whatever is in our bag, our goodie bag, which contains our thoughts, our memories, our experiences, which in turn then call upon us all that ticks these boxes to say, aha, This makes sense. This validates all that I know. And so this must be the way it's meant to be. This must be what is real. When you are going through an awakening, you will see that whatever you tuned into. Now, if you were somebody who has gone through abuse in your formative years, chances are you're going to attract that same abuse to you. Not because you want to be abused or not because you want to be in that situation. No, because the child self of you grew up with that belief, with a brain mapping that said, this is how relationships ought to be, or this is how this ought to be in this situation. And therefore, that situation feels very, very familiar, right? And that's why we call it a karmic relationship. And I will be doing a post later about the difference between a karmic and a twin flame relationship because it feels so, so strong, right? And we tune into that. These are the things that happen to us personally. Now, when we, for example, fall out with somebody, right? How is that fallout about us? It's about us to the extent of how it has made us feel and how we've made it about us, right? Did we get personal about it? So when we hear something about someone else, we can either listen to it personally, impersonally, or personally, personally. Usually it's personally, personally when it's coming from your own bank, your own memory bank. So it's very hard for us to accept that indeed even the negative experiences, rather there is actually no negative and positive, but shall we say those experiences that are contracting of our consciousness, we believe them not to be those that we are calling upon ourselves. Yet if you do a timeline of your life, right, you may find a lot of such similar experiences that are coming to us, and the only one reason they come to us is to do right the wrong that was committed. Because if you've ever squished a bit of slime, right, what happens? Or jelly, what happens? You squish it, it comes back into that shape. So similarly, we are the same, that anything that's contracting us, right, we cannot continue to stay like that. So unless those experiences are repeated, and they will keep repeating as long as this thing is lodged inside of us, only to serve the purpose of us dislodging this, of us almost letting it go, disowning it. But you cannot do it as long as you believe that you have not attracted it, or as long as you believe that what is happening to you is not about you. As long as we say that someone else did this to me, and so we fall victim to it, we will always remain in that. And that's what keeps us between the state of awakening and awaken. I know it is really hard. I've been there myself personally. Yeah. It is so, so hard, but you will come to a point where any dissonance that happens and you can feel it, you'll thank it and say, oh, goodness, right? This means I've got to go back to the drawing board. What about me is calling this experience to me? So if you don't want to use the word attracting towards me, then just say, why am I tuning into this? What about this? Why is it causing this level of reactivity inside of me? Why am I giving this amount of attention? As always, sending you so much love. I hope this makes sense. Please do drop me any questions and queries in the comments. Here for you, devoted to you as always. Take care.